Alright.
Being a military spouse is hard. Military families often move 10 times more often than civilian families. Civilian families means you're not part of the military. So moving that often, it's on average every 2 to 3 years, and that statistic comes from DoSomething.org. Moving that often makes it really hard to feel settled and really feel like you know the area you're living in and you've got friends, a support system. It's kind of hard. So I've moved 5 times in my life before meeting my husband, and then my husband and I have been married for 3 years. We've moved 5 times together. And so I've moved a total 10 times. It's quite a bit, and so I've really come to understand what it takes to make a move successful and to really enjoy living in a new area. There's 3 key things that I think that are important to make a move successful. You need to have an open mind, a support system, and build a strong relationship with God. So you might be sitting in this audience wondering, how does this apply to me if I'm a guy or I'm not a military spouse? This information is applicable because you can use it if you're moving to a new area, if you're at college and you're living on your own, or if you're just looking to meet people. So key step number 1, have an open mind. My first advice to you is to don't be afraid to be a tourist. Be willing to go down to the beach, because I live here in Florida. You might feel a little bit touristy doing those things. Go to Destin, go enjoy taking selfies in the water, the sunset. Be willing to do those things that you might feel a little bit lame or cliche, because it's really what's going to help you to enjoy the area. One thing I think is fun is like renting bicycles and riding downtown. Go explore the tiny shops and museums and historical sites. Really get to know what each area has to offer. Everything's going to be different because it's not your hometown. It's not going to compare to your hometown, but there's still something that you can find that is worth your time and enjoy being there. One thing I would like to do is making a bucket list of ideas for each area to do before we move. Here we've gone to the Cold Springs, we went to Holland Farms, which they've got like the sunflower fields, the pumpkin patches, and like all the animals. Weston had a really good time feeding the goats and the donkey. And then back when we lived back out west, we really enjoyed going to the rodeos and hiking in Moab and Zion's Park and going to Yellowstone and Craters of the Moon, which is in Idaho. So just really immerse yourself and find the things that's unique to that area. You need to have an open mind and be willing to accept friends that might be a little bit different than you, that might have different backgrounds, that might be at different ages or stages of life. Some might have kids, some might not have kids. And you kind of you learn and grow from each other. They will help to promote diversity and a growth mindset, and you can really just learn from each other. So friends are a part of a support system, and support systems are key tip number 2, build your support system. So support systems look a little bit different for everybody. My support system, there's kind of about 5 things that I would include in that. I've got friends, family, neighbors, and I would include Facebook groups even, and then my relationship with God. So having friends or finding new friends in the new area can feel hard, it can feel intimidating. I promise it's a little bit intimidating, but it might not be as hard as you think it is. There's different ways to meet friends. There's social media, which is a really big one. There's an app, it's called Bumblebee. It's super similar to Tinder, but there's BFF mode, and you can find people on there that are looking for friends as well. Be willing to put yourself out there, be vulnerable, have conversations with people, whether you're at the gym, you're at class, you're in school, go to mom groups, taking your kids to high school or dropping them off, whatever you're doing. Just be willing to have conversations with people, and that's how you're going to meet friends and build those connections. Have conversations with your neighbors. They're a really good support. You never know when your dog might get out and your neighbor notices and puts him back in or shuts your back gate for you when the mowers don't shut it. You might need a cup of flour or an extra egg, and they're always willing. They're just always willing. Neighbors are nicer than you think sometimes. So be willing to just have those conversations and feel a little bit vulnerable. So with family, you're oftentimes are living farther from your extended family, so they're hard to have a part of your support system, but you can reach out to them in new ways. FaceTime is probably my favorite way to connect with my family. We live probably about 2,000 miles away from them, and through FaceTime, you're able to see their face and still kind of feel connected. So that's my favorite way. There's other ways, like through gaming, you can all be playing the same game at the same time. I'm not sure how it works because I'm not into gaming, but I know it's a thing. So just find your new way of normal connecting and really reach out, and you can still have a good relationship with family. So Facebook support groups, they're really good. The military has got a lot of them. You can find out different things about the area you're headed to or moving to, or the area that you're currently in. Everybody's willing to offer their opinion. Take it for what it is. It's an opinion. It might not be a fact of what's right, but everyone's willing to offer their opinions of what's the best neighborhoods to live in, which ones you should avoid, daycares to avoid or to go to, best areas for schools, the best restaurants to go to. I've also had the most success with finding activities going on social media versus finding them on Google. So keep that in mind if you're looking for activities or things to go to. So having your support system, I mentioned having a relationship with God. And that's actually key point number 3, is to build that relationship with God. Having a relationship with God is one thing that will be consistent throughout your life. When you move to different towns, that's one thing that's going to be the same, is you have that relationship with God. Be willing to pray and to have those conversations with him, because he's going to be able to bring you peace and comfort when you're feeling lonely or going through some trials. He's really going to be the one that's going to be there for you. So going to church is part of having a relationship with God. And at church, you're going to be able to build those connections. You're going to be able to meet people with similar beliefs, similar thought systems as you, and they're going to be there locally with you when some other people that might have the same beliefs aren't going to be there local. So go to church in the local area and build those connections. Church is going to help to give you a sense of purpose, and so is having that relationship with God. If you go to church and build those relationships, oftentimes in our church we receive callings where it's an opportunity to serve in the church, and you can help teach different lessons to different age of kids, and serve in the nursery, which is ages like Weston, and you get to play with kids and you just get to be around them, and you can help teach them different church principles and stuff. So just doing that allows you to not feel invisible. It feels like you belong to something a little bit bigger than you, and so people see you, you feel seen, which is so important for connection and feeling like you belong somewhere. Moving doesn't have to be hard. Life is going to get easier, whether you're a military spouse or not. Moves are hard, but life is going to get easier if you implement these 3 things. Have an open mind, build a support system, and have a strong relationship with God. All of these tips kind of sum up to one thing. Be willing to be comfortable, or be comfortable being uncomfortable.